Hi again, it's Jason at Fraser Valley Rose Farm. I'm undertaking the somewhat muddy task today of dividing my perennials for sale in the spring or next summer. I have a whole bunch of perennials in my garden, and you know I do propagation of roses, so since I'm bringing roses to the farmer's market anyway, I may as well collect up some of my perennials and divide them. Now you might think, to begin with, that tearing apart your perennials into clumps and putting them into pots might be bad for the plant. Well, what you do is you wait for the plant to be ready for it. So they're in the ground for a couple of years. They have a crown. Many perennials do this, so it's a wide range of perennials. I can't give you an exhaustive list, but they start making their crown a little bit larger. And then what you do is you cut it apart. If they stay in the ground like that, actually, they're just expanding like that, they actually end up getting a little bit tired in the center of the crown. So most perennials actually benefit from the act of division. What I'll do next is I want to show you some of the supplies I have going here and how to do it. Okay, starting over here, this is what I've dug out of the garden. A couple of clumps of perennials. In this case, it's Phlomis russeliana, and the other one is Chelone obliqua. And I have some soil and pots. And up here, to help me with the division, is my clippers, a trowel, and this tub of water. And I'll show you how to use all of that here. Okay, so let's start with the Chelone. Okay, this is a big clump that I have dug out of my garden. You can see it still has the old stalks sticking out of it and a whole bunch of mud and other soil underneath here. And using whatever tool works for you, in some cases a clipper like this, a trowel, a sharp shovel, or even a machete will do. I wouldn't suggest a chainsaw. What you want to do is you want to start getting a section of this broken off from the main. How big a section? Well, you can go with little small sections and you'll get a lot more out of them. I like a big generous section because then the plant will root quite quickly and establish in my garden or establish in the pot for sale a lot sooner. Okay, I'm using a little force now. To get, oh, you can hear it coming apart there. To get a section like this. Maybe I'll come over and show you that. And what you're looking for on this is some sign that you have new emerging eyes. That's where the new shoots are going to come from. And so you need those and you need some roots. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to throw this into the water here. And the reason I do that is to loosen off some of the dead plant parts and some of the soil and everything else. And this one here has been actually soaking for a little while. And when I pull it out here, I can actually break off some of these old plant parts and break it into kind of a section that I'd like to use for my new potting. So washing off some more dirt here. And now I'm ready to show you what I've got here, which is it's got new shoots on it. It's got a nice section of root on it. It's a large enough size that I feel comfortable that it's going to root well and root quickly. And then you just dig it into, and I've already done one here, so I'll just show you. You just stick it into the pot, basically the same level right up top. Where the crown is where the soil is. And now that's ready. I wanted to show you one other one here. And this big guy here is Phlomis russeliana. It's a member of the mint family, so it actually generates new shoots quite readily. But it's actually not that common of a plant in my local market. So because of that, great plant for division. Because I can still charge a decent dollar for it, but it's relatively easy to propagate. So I'm going to just pull off this section here, and with Phlomis, it's just that easy. I just pulled off a shooted section. I'm going to stick that into the water here as well. Give it a little cleanup. And what you'll see on this one here is I can actually count its existing shoots, the ones with leaves on them right now, as the shoots that I need on the top end. And I have roots down here as well. So once again, what you really need is you need some roots and you need some shoots. You've got shoots up here, you got roots down here. That's a section that's ready for potting. If you put them into the pot, many of these are coming to their end of their growing season, but even if you have a few weeks now between now and the first major freezes, it'll start rooting through the fall, and it will resume rooting as soon as it's warm enough to do so in the spring. Oftentimes when I put in a perennial like this, I can do that with irises. Don't do it so much with peonies because they kind of dislike it every once in a while, but not often. I can do this with all sorts of geraniums, other perennials around the garden. Stick them in the pot, and oftentimes they'll put on their first flush of growth by March and April and be ready for sale in April and May. Sometimes if they want to establish a little bit longer, they're a little bit slower, I'll sell them later in the season or hold them through to the following spring. I hope that answers some of your questions about dividing perennials for sale, and if you have any questions, please leave them below.